All right, so have you ever noticed like how some people they can just eat like anything they want and they don't seem to gain any weight,
Mm-hmm.
but then other people, they just look at a slice of pizza and they gain 5 pounds.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy, right?
Yeah.
Well, tonight we're going to do a deep dive into the fascinating world of chronobiology.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, it is, right? It's all about how our body's natural rhythms impact our health.
I like it.
And specifically, we're going to be focusing on when we eat and how that is connected to insulin resistance.
Okay.
We've got 6 incredible research studies that we're going to be unpacking tonight. So,
Wow.
yeah, a lot of really good stuff in here. A lot of really interesting research.
Looking forward to it.
So, I think by the end of this deep dive,
Okay.
you're going to understand why that late night snack might be more problematic than you think.
I've been wondering about that.
Yeah. And more importantly, what you can do about it.
Okay, let's do it.
The key to all of this is understanding that our bodies operate on this 24-hour cycle called the circadian rhythm.
Right,
Okay.
exactly.
So our bodies have this internal clock.
Mm-hmm.
But how does that tie back to food?
Well, this rhythm affects everything from sleep to hormones, and you guessed it, to how efficiently we process food.
Okay.
What's really fascinating is that our insulin sensitivity, how well our cells respond to the insulin that helps them absorb glucose, actually fluctuates throughout the day.
Wait, hold on. So are you saying that there are optimal times for my body to handle, say, a big slice of cake?
You know, there are actually multiple studies that confirm this, including one by Morgan back in 1999.
Okay.
They found that both normal weight and obese individuals experience a dip in insulin sensitivity as the day goes on.
Hmm.
But here's the kicker.
Hmm.
The effect was more pronounced in obese individuals.
Oh, wow.
Essentially, your body is biologically programmed to be worse at handling sugar at night. So that means that late night cookie has a bigger impact than you think.
Interesting. Okay. So we already see a potential link between late night eating, insulin resistance, and weight gain. But it sounds like there's more to it than just our metabolism slowing down as we kind of like wind down for the night.
Right.
Right.
Remember those hormones that we talked about that are linked to our circadian rhythm? One key player is cortisol.
Cortisol. Now, doesn't that spike when we're feeling stressed?
It does. But cortisol also has a natural daily rhythm. Usually it peaks in the morning to help us wake up.
Right.
The problem is that late night eating, especially meals high in carbs, can interfere with this cortisol decline.
So late night eating keeps cortisol levels elevated when they should be going down.
Exactly. And Shear's research shows that our bodies are already primed to feel hungrier in the evening, but elevated cortisol at night further messes with insulin signaling, making your cells even more resistant to insulin.
So it's like a double whammy.
It's a double whammy, yeah.
It sounds like late night eating sets off this chain reaction,
It is.
making it way harder to process those calories efficiently.
It is.
But can we reprogram our bodies to be better at handling food earlier in the day?
Well, that's where Warren's and their team come in.
Okay.
Their 2017 study found that shifting meal times by just 5 hours could actually re-entrain or reset the human circadian system.
Wow.
Not just the central clock in our brain, but also the peripheral clocks found in organs like the liver.
Okay.
Think of it this way. Your brain has the master clock, but your organs have their own mini clocks that also need to be in sync.
5 hours. That's incredible.
It is, yeah.
So by changing when we eat, we can actually change how our bodies process food on like a fundamental level.
That's right.
Does mean breakfast is the most important meal of the day after all?
You know, a large-scale study by Kaliova in 2017 found that people who ate most of their calories earlier in the day tended to have a lower BMI over time. And those who consistently made breakfast their largest meal seemed to have the best outcomes in terms of weight control.
Okay.
It aligns perfectly with our natural insulin sensitivity, which is highest in the morning.
So breakfast is worth getting out of bed for.
It is.
But I'm guessing it goes beyond just stuffing ourselves at breakfast, right?
Yeah, it's about the overall pattern.
Okay.
Consistently pushing those calories later into the evening can disrupt the normal hormonal dance happening in our bodies, leading to those spikes in insulin and glucose we talked about.
So late night eating messes with our cortisol, which messes with our insulin, which messes with our blood sugar, and ultimately messes with our health.
That's right.
But before we spiral, what about the impact of environmental factors?
Yeah.
Things like artificial light.
Yeah, absolutely.
Does that play a role?
Salgado Delgado's 2010 review focused on the impact of dim light at night, or what they call LAN,
Okay.
on our metabolism. What they found is that even subtle light exposure can shift our internal clocks, pushing everything later, including our meal times.
So it's not just what we're eating, it's when we're eating, and now it's also the light we're exposed to at night.
Yeah.
This is multi-layered.
It is multi-layered, and it all ties back to that internal clock. When our circadian rhythms are disrupted, it throws off our hormone production, including melatonin, the sleep hormone, which can then further encourage late-night eating.
It's a vicious cycle.
Mm.
Late nights, late meals, more light, less sleep.
Right.
No wonder so many of us struggle with this.
Exactly.
But we've talked a lot about cortisol and insulin. What's actually happening at the cellular level?
Well, research shows that eating late can actually change how genes in your fat cells, liver, and pancreas behave.
Wow.
It influences which genes are turned on and off and when, directly impacting how our bodies store fat and respond to insulin.
Hmm.
We're essentially working against our natural biological rhythms when we eat late.
It sounds like we need to start paying attention to our body's internal schedule and work with it, not against it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Which means rethinking not just what we eat, but also when we eat and how we manage light exposure at night.
Mm-hmm.
This is a lot to digest.
It is, yeah.
But what can we actually do to shift our eating patterns and keep our insulin resistance in check?
That's what we'll unpack next.
Okay, I'm ready for some actionable advice here.
Okay.
How can we actually shift our eating patterns to work with our bodies and avoid those late-night cravings?
You know, one of the most effective strategies is to establish a consistent meal schedule.
Okay.
Try to eat your meals at roughly the same times each day, even on weekends.
Okay.
This helps regulate your body's natural rhythms, including those all-important hormone fluctuations.
Consistency, got it. But let's be realistic.
Right.
What about those times when those late-night cravings hit hard?
Mm-hmm.
Should we just white-knuckle it?
You know, not necessarily. It's about making smarter choices.
Okay.
Instead of reaching for those processed foods or sugary treats, opt for snacks that are rich in protein and fiber.
Okay.
Think Greek yogurt with berries, a handful of almonds, or some veggie sticks with hummus.
Okay, so focusing on protein and fiber can help stave off those cravings.
Right.
But what about social gatherings? Dinner parties, movies with friends?
Mm-hmm.
Those events often revolve around food and late at night. What do we do then?
I hear you. Social situations can be tricky, but it's about being mindful and having a game plan.
Okay.
Try having a light, balanced meal earlier in the evening so you're not totally famished later on.
Okay.
And instead of mindlessly munching on snacks, try sipping on sparkling water or herbal tea.
Okay.
It's about making conscious choices that align with your goals.
So preparation is key.
Yes.
But beyond those tactical tips,
Mm-hmm.
are there bigger picture changes we can make to our overall eating patterns?
Absolutely.
Okay.
One powerful strategy is to front load your calories.
Okay.
Essentially, make breakfast and lunch your largest meals, gradually decreasing portion sizes as the day progresses.
Okay.
This aligns with our natural insulin sensitivity, which, as we discussed, is highest in the morning.
This seems counterintuitive to how many people eat.
Yeah.
We've been conditioned to think of dinner as the main event.
Right.
But are we really talking about a dramatic overhaul of our eating habits?
Mm-hmm.
Or can small shifts make a difference?
You know, even small adjustments can have a noticeable impact.
Okay.
Remember wherein studies showed that shifting meal times by just 5 hours could reset our internal clocks?
Right.
So even pushing dinner 30 minutes earlier can start to move the needle.
Okay. Small, consistent changes.
Right.
I like it. But how long does it really take to adjust our circadian rhythms? Like, are we talking weeks, months, years?
While everyone is different, studies suggest noticeable changes within a few weeks.
Oh, okay. That's encouraging.
Yeah.
But we've talked a lot about food.
Mm-hmm.
What about those other environmental factors we touched on earlier, specifically light exposure?
Yeah, absolutely.
How important is that?
Light plays a crucial role in regulating our circadian rhythms.
Okay.
It's not just about dimming the lights at night.
Okay.
It's about optimizing light exposure throughout the entire day.
Okay.
Start your day with sunlight, ideally within the first hour of waking.
Okay.
This helps reset your internal clock and signal to your body that it's time to be awake and active.
So open the blinds, soak in the sunshine, and boost that metabolism.
Exactly.
But I'm already thinking about the practicalities.
Yeah.
What about those dark winter days or people who work night shifts?
Yeah,
Sunlight isn't always accessible.
that's a great point.
So what do we do then?
In those cases, light therapy can be an effective alternative.
Okay.
Special lamps that emit bright light, mimicking natural sunlight, can help regulate your circadian rhythm.
Yep.
Using one for 20 to 30 minutes each morning can make a real difference.
Light therapy. Interesting.
Yeah.
So morning sunlight or light therapy dimmed lights in the evening.
Right.
What else can we do to support healthy sleep, which we know is crucial for metabolic health?
Creating a relaxing bedtime routine is key.
Okay.
Avoid screens for at least an hour before bed.
Okay.
Opt for a warm bath, read a book, or listen to calming music.
Okay.
Anything that helps you unwind and disconnect from the day's stimulation.
This makes me realize how many of us are working against our bodies,
Hmm.
staying up late, bathed in the blue light of our devices,
Right.
and then wondering why we're tired and craving sugary snacks.
Exactly.
It all makes sense now.
It does.
So we need to start working with our bodies, not against them.
I agree.
But we've covered meal times, smarter snacking, front-loading calories, light exposure, sleep hygiene.
Right?
What about the timing of our workouts?
Ooh, good one.
Does that factor in?
It does.
All right.
While any exercise is beneficial, studies have shown that exercising earlier in the day may be particularly helpful for regulating circadian rhythms and improving insulin sensitivity.
So a morning jog might be a better choice than a late-night gym session.
It could be, yeah.
I have to admit, some of these changes feel a little bit overwhelming.
Yeah.
It's a lot to think about.
It's understandable to feel that way.
Yeah.
But remember, small changes add up.
Right.
Start with one manageable adjustment,
Okay.
like shifting dinner slightly earlier or incorporating a 15-minute walk into your morning routine.
Okay.
Consistency is key. And don't hesitate to consult your doctor.
Okay.
They can help you create a personalized plan that aligns with your individual needs and goals.
This has been eye-opening.
It has, hasn't it?
It's amazing how much control we have over our metabolic health when we understand how these systems work.
It is amazing.
But I'm sensing there's still more to this story.
You're right.
We've primarily focused on our behaviors and how they impact our metabolic health. But there's another layer we haven't touched on yet. The fascinating world of our gut microbiome. Okay, before we get into that, I have to ask,
Yeah.
we've talked a lot about the downsides of late-night eating,
Mm-hmm.
but are there any potential benefits?
That's a great question, and it's important to acknowledge that individual responses to meal timing can vary.
Yeah.
For some people, a small snack before bed might actually promote better sleep. And in certain athletic populations, late-night protein intake might support muscle recovery. But for the general population, particularly those concerned about insulin resistance, aligning meal timing with their circadian rhythm is likely to have the most beneficial effects.
So it's not a one-size-fits-all approach.
Right.
Individual needs and preferences play a role.
They do.
But overall, the evidence points towards earlier eating as the most metabolically favorable pattern for most people.
Right.
I'm definitely feeling inspired to make some changes.
Good.
But now I'm really curious about this gut microbiome connection.
Yeah.
How do those trillions of bacteria living in our intestines influence something as complex as insulin resistance?
But that's exactly what we'll be exploring next. The connections are truly mind-blowing.
Okay, the gut microbiome. Trillions of bacteria living in our intestines. How do they possibly influence something as complex as insulin resistance?
It might seem surprising, but the research in this area is exploding, and the findings are truly remarkable. Our gut microbiome plays a crucial role in a wide range of bodily functions, digestion, immunity, and even hormone production.
So it's not just about breaking down food.
Right.
These little guys are multitaskers.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
And one of their key roles is regulating our metabolism.
Okay.
They help us extract energy from food, synthesize vitamins, even influence our insulin sensitivity.
Okay. I see the connection to our topic now. But how does late night eating fit into this picture?
Well, the timing of our meals can actually disrupt the balance of our gut microbiome. Remember those circadian rhythms we talked about?
Yeah.
They don't just affect us, they also affect the trillions of bacteria living inside us.
So our gut bacteria have their own internal clocks, too.
They do, and when we disrupt our own rhythms by eating late at night, it throws off their rhythms too.
Yeah.
This can lead to changes in the composition of our gut microbiome, favoring the growth of certain bacteria over others.
And I'm guessing some of those bacteria are not so friendly when it comes to insulin sensitivity.
You got it.
Okay.
Some studies have shown that an imbalance in the gut microbiome, often called dysbiosis, can contribute to inflammation and insulin resistance. Late-night eating appears to be one factor that can trigger this imbalance.
Wow, it's like this whole hidden world operating inside us that we're just beginning to understand.
It is, yeah.
So what can we do to support a healthy gut microbiome, especially if we're trying to break the habit of late-night eating?
One of the most important things is to nourish those beneficial bacteria with a diet rich in fiber.
Okay.
Fruits, vegetables, whole grains.
Okay.
Those are the foods that feed the good guys.
Prebiotics, right. I've heard that term before.
Exactly. Prebiotics are basically food for probiotics, those live bacteria that we can consume through fermented foods like yogurt, kefir, or sauerkraut.
So it's a two-pronged approach.
Right.
Feed the good bacteria we already have and introduce more beneficial bacteria through our diet.
Precisely. And here's another interesting tidbit. Some studies suggest that intermittent fasting might actually promote a more diverse and balanced gut microbiome.
Intermittent fasting, that's when you restrict your eating to specific windows of time, right?
Yes, and while more research is needed in this area, it seems that giving our gut a break from digesting food for extended periods might actually help those beneficial bacteria flourish.
Fascinating. So it's not just about what we eat and when we eat. It's also about giving our gut a chance to rest and recover.
And exactly. And here's the bottom line. Taking care of our gut microbiome is crucial for overall health, including metabolic health.
Okay.
And while late-night eating can disrupt this delicate balance, there are steps we can take to restore it.
We've covered chronobiology, hormones,
Mhm.
practical strategies for shifting our eating patterns, and now the gut microbiome.
Yeah,
I have to say, I'm feeling a little overwhelmed, but also incredibly empowered.
I hear that.
It's amazing how much control we have over our health when we understand how these systems work.
It is, yeah.
As we wrap up this deep dive into late-night eating and insulin resistance, what's the one thing you want our listeners to take away?
Listen to your body. Pay attention to how you feel after eating at different times of day. Are you energized and focused or sluggish and craving more? Your body is constantly giving you feedback. You just have to tune in and listen.
Such a powerful reminder.
It is.
It's about becoming more mindful of our choices
Right.
and understanding their impact on our health. I think that's a great place to leave it for today.
I agree. It's been a pleasure exploring this fascinating topic with you.
Likewise. And a huge thank you to all our listeners for joining us on this deep dive. We'll be back soon with another episode exploring the cutting-edge science of health and wellness. Until then, take care of yourselves and be kind to your bodies. And maybe, just maybe, rethink that midnight snack.